Oh, yeah. Is it Thursday already? Wow. We got a lot to talk about today as there's rumors going around that Lucasfilm and Disney will be stopping the output of Star Wars live-action Disney Plus shows to only one a year. Now, this is some pretty crazy news, as Star Wars fans have been pretty used to getting 2, if not 3, live-action Star Wars projects on Disney Plus every single year, and now things are going to change, and they're going to change very drastically. We also have some Ahsoka Season 2 news today. We're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Anakin and Ahsoka reuniting on screen for the first time in live action ever, and we got some Star Wars Outlaws news to get to as well, so let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Thursday? It's Thursday, right? Pretty sure it's Thursday. Thursday afternoon. What's up, chat? Let's open up the chat first things first, and let's say hi to everybody. Shall we? Shall we? Okay. Fearless, what's up? Thomas, how we doing? Mando United in the house. Brandon Baker, what is up? Nathan, how we doing? Maggie, what is up? Chris, how we doing? Kit Fisto, what is up? Amanda, how we doing? King Shadow, how we doing? Star Wars Fandom, what is up? Ben, how we doing? All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Oh, yeah. All right, I got a good feeling about today's stream. An absolutely good feeling about today's stream, even though this may seem like it's bad news. Cutting down to only one live-action Star Wars show a year sounds like it's being cut down. It sounds like we're getting less product, but we're going to talk about why it's not really that case, and we're going to talk about it a lot. But first things first, holy crap, already, Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $2 holla. God damn. First ever Super Chat says, hello there. Do you think there's an Ahsoka Season 3? Huh. Never thought about that. Will there be a third season after Ahsoka Season 2? That's an interesting question because, it kind of depends on when Ahsoka Season 2 is released, because if it's before the Mando movie, I would say probably yes, but if it's after the Mando movie, then I'd say maybe not, because then Ahsoka and the others will probably come into the movies instead of getting a third season of the show. But I appreciate the $2 holla. That's very, very generous. Super chats keep the lights on over here. And if you guys don't know, if you send in a super chat, I will do any Star Wars impression of your choosing. Star Wars impression of your choosing, and it won't probably be good. And of course, memberships, of course. You get an instant access to giveaways at the end of every single month, and access to a members-only Discord. And there's a free Discord in the you guys get the gist. Okay. Let's dive into this news, shall we? I appreciate it. Darth Plagueis lives, and I certainly hope Darth Plagueis does live, but let's read this article, shall we? Oh, hang on. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me do this, and let me do that. Star Wars will be reducing its TV output. And this is a new report. Again, this has not been confirmed yet, but it is a report nonetheless, and many different outlets are reporting on this same news. So let's read this, shall we? According to insiders, Disney may be decreasing its Star Wars TV output over the next couple years. Since the release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker back in 2019, which, by the way, guys, was 5 years ago, the spacefaring franchise has been exclusively bound to the small screen. It's been exclusively on Disney Plus, and there has been nothing in the movie theaters except for actually a few episodes. The Acolyte premiere was on select theaters, and Ahsoka Episode 5 was in select theaters. Yeah, okay. Every year since then, the galaxy far, far away has been released, on average, at least 2 live-action streaming series a year on Disney Plus. The most recent of which was the polarizing, to say the least, The Acolyte, which ended its 1-season run in July. So, Star Wars changes its TV plans. Star Wars TV strategy is reportedly in the midst of a major change. Insider Daniel Richtman shares that he has heard the iconic sci-fi franchise is set to reduce the number of live-action TV series it releases per year from 2 to 1. And there were some years in there where it was 3, but now it's gone from 2 or 3 to 1. Now, why would that happen? Let's keep reading. He mentions that several series are still in development at Lucasfilm, so the brand is not getting out of the live-action TV business entirely. They're just simply reducing their output. So this is not the end of live-action Star Wars on Disney+. After Andor Season 2, after Ahsoka Season 2, there will be more live-action Star Wars content on Disney+. It will just be reduced, in a way. And this is what he has to say. I'm hearing that Jesus, Mike, come on. I'm hearing that several series are in development, but it seems they plan to release only one live-action series per year starting in 2025. Now, we're going to read the rest of this article, but I want to pause right there. This claims that it's going to start in 2025, which is next year. It's actually in, 4 months? September, October, November, December. 4 months! 4 months. And will be in 2025, and that's when this is being implemented. Meaning, next year, if these reports are true, the only Star Wars live-action Disney Plus series will be Andor Season 2. That's it. Now, I know a lot of you guys in the chat right now are big Andor fans. Give me a 1 into the chat if you love Andor Season 1 and you're hyped for Season 2. But I know a lot of you are very excited for that. But you can't forget that Andor Season 1 came in with very, very low numbers, and not a lot of normie fans, so to speak, watched the show. So the fact that next year is only going to have one live-action Star Wars Disney Plus show, and it's going to be Andor Season 2, might become a big problem. But let's keep reading, shall we? And by the way, 2025, that means 2026, the only one is going to be Ahsoka Season 2. And after that, we have no idea because it hasn't been announced yet. Look at all the Andor love in the chat. Who doesn't love Andor? Come on. If you've watched it, you know the love. If you've watched it, you know the love. Okay, let's keep reading. This seems to be in line with the greater Disney media strategy as of late. Disney has been cutting back on almost everything. Star Wars has seemed to be avoiding that cutback for a long time. Marvel has cut back on their output as well. They used to be producing 3, sometimes even 4 shows a year, along with 2 or 3 movies a year, and now they're cutting back as well. I guess Pixar's not really cutting back, but Disney is trying to cut back on quantity so that the quality will get higher. Quantity lower, quality higher. Quality over quantity. Okay. In July of 2023, Walt Disney Company CEO Bob Iger confirmed the Hollywood giant will, quote unquote, be spending less on what they make and making less as well. So this is what they said. Yep, a pullback, not just to focus, but it's also a part of our cost containment initiative. Spending less on what we make and making less. Making less, he doesn't mean making less money, he means making less output because they want to make more money by getting more quality output. Okay. While Rickman's reports remain unconfirmed by Disney themselves, like I said, this is just a rumor in a report for now. This has not been confirmed, so take it with a giant grain of salt. Take the find the largest grain of salt in your house and take it with this news. Okay? Okay. Lucasfilm, where was I? Has not been confirmed by Disney itself. This Star Wars news would make sense given the new cost-cutting measures at the studio, though. Lucasfilm notably released new episodes to 3 different Disney Plus live-action series in 2022, then released only 2 in 2023, and another duo will be streaming another one of the duo will be streaming at the end of 2024, which is Skeleton Crew. Since 2019, 8 different series of television have been released on Star Wars on Disney Plus. Wait, 8? Oh, it means seasons. Okay, so Mando season 1, 2, 3, Ahsoka 1, Andor 1, Acolyte, Kenobi, and Book of Boba Fett. There you go. There's your 8. Okay. Why will there be less Star Wars shows? Let's do this. There were a few reasons this reduction to live-action Star Wars TV output for Star Wars brand might be happening. Of course, the financial reality of streaming and the rising cost of just about everything plays a major factor. Of course, the rising cost of everything. Creating stories in a universe with the gratuitous scale of something like Star Wars costs a pretty penny. to say the least. The Acolyte came in at $180 million to create. I think Skeleton Crew's around 150, maybe 140, something like that. It costs a lot to make a Star Wars show, especially if you want to make a really high quality Star Wars show. It's very expensive to do. Look at Rings of Power, which is coming out right now. It cost $1 billion to make the first season of that show. Oh, wow. There's a new episode of Rings of Power tonight, isn't there? That's awesome. Okay. Getting off topic. Where was I? And Disney, time and time again, has made it clear it has simply not seen the financial returns from its streaming investments, at least to a level to justify what they're spending under the previous regime. So here's the problem. Disney Plus, although it is this massive streaming service, so many people have Disney Plus, it's one of the biggest streaming services behind Netflix. It's not making money. That's the issue. Disney is a company, it's a publicly traded company, meaning there's stockholders that need to make money. And Disney Plus is not making them money because there's so much money being invested into the shows themselves, into the movies that they're creating over there, that they're not making money. So where you make money in the box office with a movie, like a Marvel movie comes out, it makes $1 billion. The movie only costs $200 million to create. Now you're making a profit. When it comes to Disney Plus, things work very differently. There's no box office anymore. So it's only streaming numbers. And when it comes to streaming numbers, it's more so subscription numbers. And they're just not making enough money on Disney Plus. So now the tides are turning. Star Wars is going back to the movie theaters with The Mandalorian and Grogu and the Rey movie and Dawn of the Jedi and Dave Filoni's Mando movie and Sean Levy's Star Wars movie. They're trying to shift gears back towards the movie theaters because they make a lot of money there. Marvel has stayed in the movie theaters. They're going to continue to stay in the movie theaters. Pixar's making more movies. Toy Story 5 to make another $1 billion. Inside Out 2 just made $2 billion. They're trying to get Incredibles 3, which the first two made like $1 billion. So they're trying to make money in the box office because the streaming service, it ain't working. It's not making enough money, and it's not justifiable to keep creating these $200 million TV shows. Let's keep reading. So, cutting back on live-action Star Wars TV could save the company a pretty penny, especially when it's been projected shows like this year's The Acolyte cost upwards of $180 million to produce. That is a nearly blockbuster movie type of spending on something that was not guaranteeing the return that the studio had been looking for. This leads directly to the next point of why this reduction of output is happening. So even with the more popular shows like The Mandalorian, like your Ahsokas, like your Kenobis even, they're still not making enough. They're still not getting enough views. They're not drawing enough subscriptions to warrant the giant budgets that these shows have, even though The Mandalorian is still their biggest show on Disney Plus. After years away from the big screen, Disney and Lucasfilm are finally ready to start putting out Star Wars movies again. A proposition that, in theory, has a higher chance of making its return back than on the streaming shows. Say what you will about the sequel trilogy, it still made billions upon billions of dollars. So that's what they're hoping to come back to with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and all these other Star Wars movies set to release at some point over the next couple of years. They're hoping that billions and billions of Star Wars fans will come out to watch these movies, and they will rack in billions upon billions of dollars, which should make sense because Star Wars is still massive. But 2026 will mark the franchise's grand return to the theaters with Jon Favreau's The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which was set to hit theaters on May 22nd of 2026. The studio then has 2 more untitled Star Wars films already lined up for December 18th of 2026. Everybody forgets about this. 2026 will have 2 Star Wars movies, not just 1, but 2 Star Wars movies, which is absolutely insane. And on December 17th of 2027, there's another untitled Star Wars film there. If I were a gambling man, which I am not, I would guess that this movie is most likely going to be the Rey movie, and this one would probably be the Dawn of the Jedi movie. I really don't know how far along that is. I'm hoping that it's further along than I believe, but I have no idea. I honestly have no clue. I'm hoping it's Dawn of the Jedi, because Dawn of the Jedi could do some crazy things for Star Wars in the future. But the shift in focus from streaming back to the theatrical release seems clear across Disney brand, and Star Wars is not excluded from that. Disney is dealing in what it deems as guaranteed successes, emphasizing known qualities that will drive maximum profits. So this is the same reason sort of The Acolyte season 2 got canceled. The first season was not a success, so to speak, with the viewer numbers and, of course, the absolute insane civil war that the Star Wars fandom is still currently in because of that show. But they can't, in good conscience, or at least trying to make money, they can't create a second season of The Acolyte when they are trying to focus on guaranteed successes. Now, there is a point where this becomes a problem, where you get a Toy Story 5, when people were like, you should have stopped at Toy Story 3. Like, you're just oversaturating the same story over and over and over and over again. That's when it becomes a problem. Right now, we haven't hit that with The Mandalorian and Grogu. People still love those characters of Din Djarin and Grogu. At some point, though, it might become old news. It might become the same story over and over again because they're not trying to tell new stories. In The Acolyte, although many people might not like it, it was a new story. But right now, they're emphasizing on guaranteed successes like Din Djarin and like Baby Grogu. Okay. In the past, Star Wars movies have fallen firmly into the category of with 5 of its 12 theatrical release movies sitting in the top 50 highest grossing films of all time. That's crazy. All right, chat, try and guess. What are the 5 Star Wars movies that are in the top 50 of highest grossing films of all time? Hang on, let me see if this link takes us there. It does. Okay. This is a list of the top 50 highest grossing films of all time. Try and guess, chat, what 5 Star Wars films are in this top 50? Let's see it, chat. The Rey movie? No. Kid Fisto, what's up? The Force Awakens is the highest grossing Star Wars film. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That is true. So the first guess is The Force Awakens, and that is true. The Force Awakens is the 5th highest grossing film of all time. Of all time. That's pretty wild. It made almost $1 billion. That's crazy. All right, we got The Force Awakens. We got 4 more. I need 4 more. I see 3. Wait, 1, 2. Where's the 5th one? Oh, wow. I did not know that. Okay, I found all 5. I found all 5. A New Hope? No. The problem is movies just make more money now due to inflation and due to just more people going to see movies. The original trilogy is not going to be in the top 50 because they didn't make as much money because money was less back in the day, you know? Revenge of the Sith? No, Revenge of the Sith is not in it. It's not in the top 10. I mean, not top 50. Rogue One. Yes, Rogue One is in the top 50. I believe it's at number 44. It made $1.1 billion. So Rogue One and The Force Awakens. You got 2. You got 2, chat. The Phantom Menace. Yes, Damien. The Phantom Menace is actually at number 47. Barely makes the list at $1.05 billion. So The Phantom Menace made the list. Think about that. The Phantom Menace, of all the prequel trilogy movies, made the most money. To me, that's insane. Because Revenge of the Sith, by far, is my favorite of the prequel trilogy films. And I think it's just leaps and bounds better than Episode 2 and Episode 1. But that's crazy. The Phantom Menace was just that big of a hit because people just wanted to go see Star Wars again. B-Man, what's up? Attack of the Clones? No. Attack of the Clones is not on the list. Rise of Skywalker? Yes. Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi? Yes. Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker are the other 2. So it's the 3 sequel trilogy movies, Rogue One and The Phantom Menace. Those are your 5 highest grossing Star Wars films of all time. Now, what's crazy is I'm sure many of you would agree with me that the 3 sequel trilogy films are not the best Star Wars movies. They're just the most recent ones. And Rogue One, of course, is one of the best Star Wars movies in my personal opinion. And that's actually really good to see it up there. I did not know it made that much money at the time. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. Okay. Darth Conan, what's up? Soul, how we doing? All right, let's go back to this. So, of the 12 theatrical Star Wars releases, 5 of them sit in the top 50 of all time. It's the 3 sequel movies, Rogue One, and The Phantom Menace. Okay. But given the franchise's reliance on TV shows over the last half decade and the common fan sentiment of the last 5 years of streaming output may have cheapened the iconic brand, it will be interesting to see if fans are ready to flock back to the theaters when the next Star Wars movie as they once were. So that's the big question, is over the last 5 years, has the want and the desire for a Star Wars film grown stronger or grown weaker? Are Star Wars fans more eager now to go to see a Star Wars film in the movie theater, or are they like, what are they doing? What are we waiting for? Why do they just keep making more Star Wars Disney Plus shows? Now, here's the thing. This article is about taking it down to one Star Wars movie a year. Star Wars show. Live action show a year. And the big sort of question becomes the movies. Because now if you're having one live action show a year, that means you're going to have at least one movie a year. In 2026, we're going to have 2 movies, but you're going to have at least one movie a year. Does that just take the place of the other live action Star Wars show? Kinda. So this isn't really bad news, so to speak. This just reducing down to one live action show is just being replaced by a Star Wars movie. And I honestly think that some fans will agree with me when I say that that's better. That's so much better. I'd rather go see Star Wars where it's meant to be, on the big screen. And if that stops me from seeing 2 Star Wars live action shows on Disney Plus a year and instead only seeing 1, I'm perfectly fine with that. If we replace one Star Wars Disney Plus show with a movie, are we okay with that? Let me put up a poll in the chat, shall we? If you haven't yet, smash a freaking like on the stream, but let me put up a poll in the chat. Is this good news? Yes or no? Do you think this is good news? Oh, I just wrote new. Hang on, let me end that poll. Hang on. Starting over. Is this good news? Is this good news? Not new. Is this good news? Yes or no? Is Disney Plus live action shows being reduced to 1 a year good news? Because on the surface, it sounds like bad news. Just the headline. Star Wars gets reduced to 1 show a year. That sounds horrible. But when you really look at it, that's not what's going on here. That 1 show, or the second show, I should say, is being replaced by a Star Wars live action movie. And it's not saying anything about animated Star Wars being taken out of the equation either. It actually doesn't mention it at all. So although the Bad Batch is over, although the Clone Wars is over, although Rebels is over, the next animated show is on the way. What it may be, we have no idea. Maybe it's a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. We don't know. But it is on the way. And that still is going to exist, even though we're only getting 1 live action show a year. I appreciate the hearts, guys. I really do. Darth Thor says, 1 live action show, 1 animated show, and 1 movie per year sounds good to me. That sounds incredible. Think about that for a second. As a Star Wars fan, if you grew up in the time of the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, you had this 16-year gap. And in between the trilogy movies, you had 3 years to wait. Now, you're talking about getting a movie, a show, live action, and an animated one in the same year for pretty much every year for the foreseeable future. That sounds incredible. That sounds so good. So although Star Wars left the movie theaters in 2019, in 2020, we had The Mandalorian Season 2, I believe the first season of The Bad Batch, or maybe, no, Clone Wars Season 7. And then the following year was The Bad Batch. Yeah, so 2020, we had Mando Season 2 and the end of Mando Season 1, I believe, and Clone Wars Season 7. The following year, you have The Bad Batch, Also, the Book of Boba Fett to end the year. Was there something else? Oh, Andor that year? Was Andor 2021 or 2020? No, it was 2022. What else was in 2021? Not too sure. Whatever. 2022, you had 3 shows. The end of Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, and Andor. 2023, you have Ahsoka and The Mandalorian Season 3, along with The Bad Batch Season 2 as well. This year, you had The Bad Batch Season 3, The Acolyte, and now you're going to end the year with Skeleton Crew. Not to mention all the video games that came out, all the Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empires, like the just the smaller stuff. I'm just talking about the big Star Wars Visions too. So you're getting so much Star Wars content all the time. And now you're just going to replace one of those live action shows every year with a movie? This is not bad news at all. This is not bad news in the slightest. I read this news yesterday, and I was like, what the bleepity bleep? We're only getting one Star Wars project. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about this is fan-freaking-tastic news because now we're getting a Star Wars movie every year, and we're still getting the shows. It's crazy. Now, the one downside of this entire thing is next year. Next year, there is no Star Wars movie set to release. None. Zip. Nada. The only live action show or the only live action Star Wars content we're going to be getting next year is Andor Season 2. And that's it. So that's the big caveat here. We might have to wait quite a while between Andor Season 2 and The Mandalorian and Grogu movie for live action Star Wars content. Now, the big sort of coup de grace there is that on April 18th to April 20th of next year is Star Wars Celebration. And Star Wars Celebration is going to be chock full of announcements of unannounced Star Wars shows that are currently in the works at Lucasfilm that's been reported. And that could be animated shows, that could be live action shows, it could be anything. We don't know yet. But I can almost guarantee you that at least one of those shows, animated most likely, will come out in 2025. Whether it's a Tales of the Jedi Season 2 or it's an actual full-on season of the next animated Star Wars show, it will release in 2025. We are not going to go a whole year with Andor Season 2 being the only piece of Star Wars content we're going to be receiving. I can guarantee you that. So the only downside is next year, because we'll only be getting one live-action show. But then 2026? 2026? Are you kidding me? 2026, we're going to get the Mandalorian and Grogu movie in May. Ahsoka Season 2 at some point, either before or after said movie. And then we're going to be getting another movie in December. 2 movies. And Ahsoka Season freaking 2. Not to mention, I'm sure we'll get an animated show, whether it's a short like Tales of the Jedi or an actual show. We're getting something else too, animated-wise. 2026 could be the most jam-packed year of Star Wars content. So 2025 might just be the calm before the storm. That's what I'm hearing. And honestly,
this is where the fun begins.
It really is. This is truly.
This is where the fun begins.
It only seems good news to me. It only seems good news to me, but I don't know. It seems like 75% of you guys agree that this is good news. Darth Plagueis lives with another $2 holla. God damn, says, I'm hyped. You just said I'm hyped? You just sent me your hard-earned money to say I'm hyped? Have you lost your goddamn minds? But I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. That's very, very nice. Super chats, of course, keep the lights on. You want an impression or something? Come on. Make it worth it. I appreciate it, Darth Plagueis. I'm hoping to see you on screen at some point over the next couple of years. Maybe, something that gets announced next year, Yeah, I know. All right, let me scroll back up here. Kid Fisto says, can you rank all the Star Wars movies from best to worst for you? I can do it as quickly as I possibly can, just off the top of my dome. Let's do it. All right. In the chat, tell me your top 3 Star Wars movies. Okay? Top 3. I'll give you my top 12. Ready? Starting with Revenge of the Sith at number 1. That's easy. Then I go Empire, number 2. Empire Strikes Back. Number 3, I'd probably go Rogue One, actually. And then number 4, A New Hope. Number 5, Return of the Jedi. Number 6 is Attack of the Clones. Number 7 is The Force Awakens. Number 8 is The Phantom Menace. Oh, wait, I forgot about Solo. Hang on. Rewind. No, Solo will go right there. Solo's after The Phantom Menace. Huh. I think I go Rise of Skywalker, then Last Jedi. I think. I don't know. That's just off the top of my head. That's just off the dome. I'd have to think about it a little bit more, maybe rewatch some movies, you know? But just off the top of my head. Top 3 for me, it goes Revenge, Empire, and Rogue One. Yeah. Yeah. I see Rogue One in a lot of people's top 3. That's awesome. It's an underrated Star Wars film for sure. B-Man, what's up? Brandon says, wow, I'm surprised. Revenge of the Sith deserves to be in a top spot. I know. Revenge of the Sith didn't make as much money as The Phantom Menace. It's kind of surprising to me. Yeah. Adam says, Star Wars went to hell the minute that Disney bought it. I could not disagree with you more. Think about the amount of content that we wouldn't have gotten if Disney didn't buy Star Wars. And let's be honest here. It's not Disney buying Star Wars. It's George Lucas selling Star Wars. But let me rephrase and remember for you. Rogue One, which we just talked about, amazing. And let's not even touch the sequel trilogy because some people love it, some people don't love it, whatever. Rogue One. Solo, I'll give you, is not top tier like Rogue One, but it is a quality movie. The Mandalorian, Clone Wars Season 7, all 4 seasons of Star Wars Rebels, The Bad Batch, Ahsoka, come on, Tales of the Jedi, like, come on. We wouldn't have gotten any of that if it wasn't for Disney. So, what are we talking about here? And Adam, weren't you just a huge proponent of Star Wars Outlaws? Didn't you just love playing Star Wars Outlaws? You know who made that? You know who made that? Disney. Crazy. Okay. Adjusted for inflation, though, A New Hope was the highest grossing of the Star Wars films. Yeah, adjusted for inflation is a little bit different. Because that would be a completely different list. Yeah. The Phantom Menace did that because it was the return to Star Wars to the movie theaters. I remember it was a huge event. Yeah, I mean, I've seen all the documentaries and videos about it. The Phantom Menace was a huge deal in all of pop culture. 16 years without Star Wars content. The return to the theater in The Phantom Menace. And that's sort of the reason that the prequel trilogy is so divided amongst fans and critics alike. Because people for 16 years were anticipating what the next Star Wars would look like. And many people didn't think it would look like Jar Jar Binks or whatever the Phantom Menace looked like to them, I guess. Yeah. Sadly, the sequel trilogy has the same problem where they made less money as the trilogy went on. That's true. The prequel trilogy, actually, I think all the trilogies can be said the same. I believe A New Hope made the most money of the 3. Actually, I don't know that for sure. Let's look it up. How much money did the original trilogy make? Let's see. Here's a list that says all 12 Star Wars movies ranked by box office adjusted for inflation. Number 12 is the Clone Wars movie. And then Solo, Attack of the Clones, Rise of Skywalker, Rogue One is at 8, Revenge of the Sith is at 7, Return of the Jedi is at 6, Last Jedi is at 5, Phantom Menace at 4, Empire at 3, Force Awakens at 2, and A New Hope at 1. So every first movie of a Star Wars trilogy made the most money. A New Hope made the most money of the original trilogy. The Phantom Menace made the most money of the prequel trilogy, and The Force Awakens made the most money of the sequel trilogy. Something could be said about that. Something could be said about that. Yeah. Jack says, my cinemas near me are re-releasing all movies, and I'm so excited. All Star Wars movies? That's pretty cool. I love how they're doing the re-releases pretty much every year to celebrate the 25th anniversary or the 40th anniversary or whatever it is of these Star Wars movies, because I got to go see Return of the Jedi in theaters last year. And I got to go see The Phantom Menace in theaters this year. It's awesome. Soul says, personally, I prefer Star Wars to be TV shows, but obviously I don't mind seeing them in movies either. That's interesting. I actually want to pull that up. Let's see. Let's put it this way. How do you prefer? Actually, let's phrase this differently. Which would you rather your future Star Wars content in movie form or on TV? Disney Plus. Which would you prefer? Seeing a Star Wars movie in theaters or seeing a Star Wars show on Disney Plus? What do you rather as a Star Wars fan? For me, it's got to be movies. I understand that you can tell a lot more story in a TV show, and it's just the experience of going to the movies, having an event be going to see a Star Wars movie. That is so much, that can't be replaced. However, the Star Wars shows, like I just mentioned, have the ability to tell so much more story because you have so much more time with the characters. A movie can be 2.5 hours, while a show could be 8 episodes and could be up to 6 to 8 hours. So it's a little bit different because you can tell so much more story in television, but it's the event of going to the movie theaters that I think is far superior. Yeah. Yeah. Again, Darth Plagueis, I appreciate the super chats. Super chats are very, very helpful over here. Where was I? Shit, I lost my part. Oh, there we go. Annie K says, I think it's good news, but I do get more invested in the TV shows. I think it could be good for productions, but I also love the animated series as well. Yeah, I don't think the animated shows are going to stop. I mean, I certainly hope the next animated show will be announced next year at Star Wars Celebration, but I don't know what it will be. That's the big question. Right now, The Bad Batch just ended earlier this year, and it was a great ending. But we got nothing now. The Clone Wars is over. It's done. 7 seasons. That's it. Now The Bad Batch is over, which was kind of an extension, kind of a season 8, 9, and 10 of the Clone Wars, and it's over. So it's kind of a question of what will be next for animated Star Wars, and we have no idea. They could go in any sort of direction that they want. Hopefully they go in the right direction, but I have no clue. I have no clue at all. Yeah. Aaron says, I do prefer TV shows as a whole, but if this decision helps them focus on quality of storytelling, it's probably for the best. Also, I'm sick of all the fans bellyaching over the shows. I wonder if movies will change that, though. I don't think, no, it's not, because we saw it with the sequel trilogy. The fandom is not going to react differently to a movie versus a television show. The sequel trilogy got ripped on long before The Acolyte did. The prequel trilogy got ripped on long before the sequels did. So I don't think it's a conversation of whether a TV show will get ripped on more than a movie. I actually think it won't, and more eyes will probably see a movie, so it might actually be worse. But I agree with you in the first part. They should be focusing on quality of storytelling over the quantity of storytelling, which seems to have been the whole mission this entire time when it comes to Star Wars. It's not like Marvel, where we're getting 5 shows a year and 2 movies or 3 movies a year. That never happened with Star Wars. We were getting 2 live-action shows, 3 at most, and maybe 1 animated show. So it wasn't even close. Yeah. There's an animated project that has been done for a while. That is the rumor, yeah. That there's an animated project that they got sort of done in the chambers, ready to go. And hopefully that's the case because we need an animated show for next year. I just don't know. Actually, let's do the math. If Skeleton Crew comes out on December 3rd, which its release date, I believe it's a 2-episode premiere per usual. That means it'll be 6 weeks. Excuse me. It'll be 8 episodes, so it'll be 6 weeks. That means that'll bring us into 2025, right? Obviously, December's not 6 weeks long. So technically, Skeleton Crew will be a part of the 2025 release schedule. And this isn't really good news for Andor fans. Andor Season 2 might get pushed back even further into 2025 because it's the only live-action show. Because Andor Season 2 is going to be the only one that releases next year, it might get pushed back to like the middle of the year. Could be a July release. Could be an August release even, which would kind of suck because we've been waiting so patiently for Andor Season 2. But I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one. Star Wars Fandom, what's up? Nestor says, I feel like if George Lucas was still in charge, there would only be animated Star Wars on Disney Plus, and the live-action stuff would be solely for the movie theaters. I don't think so, because obviously he had the Underworld show that he was working on, which I believe would have been live-action, the scripts he was working on. But he also did animated shows, or animated movies. The Clone Wars movie was the first thing to come out before the Clone Wars even did. So, I don't know. It would be interesting to see what Star Wars would look like with just George Lucas in charge still. But the bad news would be it wouldn't be much. Because he wanted to retire. That's the reason he sold the company in the first place. It's because he wanted to retire. He wasn't going to just spend his time making more Star Wars content because that's why he sold the company in the first place. Darth Conan says, yes, so hopefully not wasting money on 2 live-action shows and putting both budgets into one good one, a movie or a series. I don't think that's what's going on here. I think it's more so that they're focusing that budget of the other show into the movie, because there's going to be a movie pretty much every year for the foreseeable future. 2026 having 2, 2027 having 1, 2028 probably having 1, 2029 probably having 1, 2030, Jesus Christ. Okay. Damien says, the reduction of content could mean the suit of losing confidence in their IP and not willing to take a risk. I think when you look at what's going on currently in Hollywood, taking a risk is not something that Hollywood studios want to do. And Disney is, of course, one of these Hollywood studios. They want, like we read in the article, they want proven successes. So they want to make money. And the way to make money is to not take risks, to know what's already going to make you money, like Din Djarin, like Grogu, that's already going to sell tickets. They know that for a fact. And just put all your chips, that's what I was trying to look for. Put all your chips in that basket. Put all your eggs, it's the real thing I was looking for, eggs in that basket. Look at Pixar making a Toy Story 5 because they know Toy Story is an easy success, or Incredibles 3. Look at any other Hollywood studio too. They're making a Minecraft movie. A Minecraft movie with Jack Black looking like himself playing Steve. Are you kidding me? Give me a 1 into the chat if you saw that trailer. Give me a 1 into the chat if you saw that trailer for the Minecraft movie. Steve, the legendary character from Minecraft, Steve, is being played by Jack Black, and they are not animating him at all. It's just Jack Black in a blue t-shirt. So proven successes, they don't always work. They don't always work. Look at Borderlands. Borderlands, the movie, just came out to a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. Now you might say, Mike, Rotten Tomatoes, whatever, like who listens to Rotten Tomatoes? 0. And the movie made no money. It made $4 million in its opening weekend. 4. You put that up against like Deadpool versus Deadpool and Wolverine. That made like $200 million in its opening weekend. 4. So proven successes or proven IPs like a Borderlands, like a Minecraft, aren't always guaranteed money. Maybe Toy Story 5 will flop. Maybe Incredibles 3 will suck. Maybe the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will suck. Hopefully not. But proven successes don't always pan out. So not taking risks like a Skeleton Crew, like a Acolyte, like a Ahsoka, like a Mandalorian is going to keep you just running around in circles forever. The Mandalorian was a risk. The first season of Mandalorian was a massive risk. It's a brand new character. You're introducing a baby version of Yoda? That's a huge risk. What if fans hated it? It's a massive risk. And it played, and it worked. It worked. So yeah, I think to become a successful company like Lucasfilm is, like Disney is, you have to take risks. And this whole shift in Hollywood right now is kind of getting rid of the risk. And that might be a problem. Yeah, might be a problem. Whoa, Pam Hill says, tomorrow's my birthday, 65 trips around the, does that say 65? 65 trips around the sun? That's awesome, Pam. Happy birthday. Can we get some happy birthdays to Pam in the chat, please? Yeah. Okay. Aren't they filming the Rey movie, though? Not right now, no. The Rey movie probably won't start filming until next year, if I were to guess. Yeah. Jack says, but let's just appreciate how many Star Wars, or how much Star Wars we can binge in the meantime. I mean, I've said this once. If I've said this once, I've said it a million times. It's the greatest time to be a Star Wars fan right now. It is the single greatest time. And this news only makes it that much better. Now, for the foreseeable future, we're going to be getting one live-action Star Wars show a year, one live-action Star Wars movie a year, and one animated Star Wars show a year. For the foreseeable future. And that's awesome to look forward to, but you also can go binge watch whatever you want on Disney+. From the original trilogy to the prequel trilogy to the sequel trilogy to everything in between, you can go watch it all. It's the single greatest time to be a Star Wars fan. If you like to speculate, if you like to anticipate, if you like to break stuff down, you can do that with Skeleton Crew. You can do that with the upcoming Lego Rebuild the Galaxy stuff that comes out in 8 days. You can do that with Andor Season 2 next year, Ahsoka Season 2 the following year, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, whatever animated show is on the way. But if you love Star Wars, if you love the Star Wars that already exists, you can go watch it on repeat for the rest of your life because it exists on Disney+. Like, it is the single greatest time to be a Star Wars fan. Absolutely. Abso-frickin-lutely. Okay, where was I? Soul says, I remember going around asking people whether or not they believe that there's going to be more Star Wars movies in 2020, in early 2012, and most of them were like, nah, no way. I'm so glad that they were wrong. That's true. After the prequel trilogy was released and after the Clone Wars became a thing, many Star Wars fans didn't think that we'd ever see live-action Star Wars again because George Lucas was getting older and he was pretty much saying that he wasn't going to be making anything else. And then, of course, he sold the company. Yeah. Annie K says, when George was in charge, he trained Dave Filoni and passed it on. Enough said for me. Only ego wants to be in charge forever. Ego wants to be in charge? What? Yeah, I mean, that is the best part about it, is that Dave Filoni is now the chief creative officer and oversees all Star Wars content that's being created, and he is the apprentice of George Lucas. So now that George Lucas has retired, he's doing his museum, he's doing his own thing, he doesn't want to be creating Star Wars content anymore. Now we got the next best thing, his apprentice, the guy he trained for a decade with the Clone Wars, Dave Filoni. It just doesn't get much better than that. Indeed. Ahsoka was mid. That's funny. Makes me laugh. I love Rebels. Me too. I love Rebels too. Fearless says, I have to say, my favorite animated show for sure is The Bad Batch, followed really closely by Rebels. Favorite animated Star Wars show? That is very difficult. I think as a whole, it's the 4 seasons of Rebels. I get the Clone Wars has 7 seasons, but I think because it's 7 seasons and because the earlier seasons have more just filler episodes and just like sort of story of the week type stuff, I think Rebels is just the superior series. But that's just me. I'm not saying Clone Wars is bad by any means. Yeah. What do we think, chat? What's your favorite Star Wars animated series? I'm dripping water on myself. Okay. Where was I? Abby, what's up? Says, hi, Mike. I just got done with Outlaws. It's such an awesome game. That's awesome. Yeah, I finished Outlaws earlier this week. It's so like the story is awesome, but it's just fun to live in the Star Wars world in an open world. And again, I didn't have any of the digital issues, the bugs and all that other people had, losing their saves and stuff. I would have lost my shit too if that was me, but I didn't have any of that. So I enjoyed the game quite a bit. Quite a bit. Yeah. For sure. Star Wars Santa says, the sequel trilogy is the only one of the trilogies where the third movie made less than the second movie. Really? Interesting. What's actually crazy about that is that The Empire Strikes Back made the least amount of money in the original trilogy. And I think The Empire Strikes Back is the best movie in that trilogy. That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, Subdude says, I want a continuous stream of Star Wars, movies, live action, behind the scenes, documentaries about the people behind the scenes. George Lucas, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy, etc. You want a continuous stream of Star Wars? Oh, well, that's what you're getting. Continuous stream of Star Wars. To end this year, you're going to be getting the Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, which comes out in 8 days. Then you're going to get Skeleton Crew, which leads us into 2025, where you're going to get Andor Season 2, many announcements at Star Wars Celebration, hopefully an animated show that comes out next year, and then the constant stream continues into 2026 with 2 movies, Ahsoka Season 2, and who knows what else. Yeah. Noah Sparks is up. Noah says, it's way more of an experience on the big screen and with other fans around you. That's true too. When you're watching a TV show at your house, it's just you or it's just you and your family watching the show, as to where if you go to the movies, you're going to be seeing it with other Star Wars fans around you. I can't wait for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie to come out because we're definitely 1 trillion% renting out an entire movie theater to just fill it with Star Wars fans. Fill it with the people who love Star Wars, and we're watching it together because that would just be the greatest experience. I can't think of anything better when it comes to watching a Star Wars movie. So, yeah. Absolutely, Noah. Absolutely. Yeah. Screw going to the theaters. I want to see the new Deadpool and release it wasn't worth it. What? I want to see the new Deadpool and released it wasn't worth it. You went to see it and it wasn't worth it? What? Deadpool and Wolverine was absolutely incredible. I don't know what you're talking about. Empire Films is up. What is up? Chris says, I like both the movies. Wait, I like both, but movies have a better experience and they have better effects. The shows can give more content and fill in the gaps between the movies. I wouldn't say they have better effects, but I do understand what you mean. They usually spend more time on the effects when it comes to movies. But yeah. Kay, what's up? Yeah. Yeah. Star Wars Santa says, yeah, I know the animated show that is ready to release, just waiting on its announcement. Do you think it will be announced this year? I mean, maybe they announced it this year because it could release next year. That would be the only thing, because you don't want to wait so long to announce it at Star Wars Celebration in April of next year, so they might announce it this year. Mace Cameron, what's up?
Hello there.
Is Andor Season 2 12 episodes? Yes. Andor Season 2 will be 12 episodes. Every 3 episodes will be 1 year, and it will be 3 episode arcs, just like the first season. And every year, there'll be a time jump of 1 year in between each 3 episodes. in the final 3 episodes will lead us directly into the beginning of Rogue One. Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. Obviously, Subdude says today is my birthday, but nobody should be as excited about it as Star Wars. Wait, today's your birthday? Actually? That's crazy. Let's get some happy birthdays to obviously Subdude in the chat, too. Jeez, it's everybody's birthday today. Whose birthday is it? Don't lie to me, chat. Don't you lie to me, chat. Okay. 1 new Star Wars content every 4 months in a year. I'm down for that. Pretty much, yeah. If they could do it that way. And here's the thing. We're just talking about shows and movies. This doesn't include shorts like A Tales of the Jedi, like Star Wars Visions, like Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. This doesn't include games like Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Outlaws, Star Wars Eclipse, Knights of the Old Republic remake. It doesn't include any of that. So this is just the shows and movies. It doesn't include books, novelizations, comics, any of that stuff. So there's going to be a lot more Star Wars content on the way. We're not slowing down anytime soon. Dave Filoni was George Lucas's personal Padawan. Indeed he was. Indeed he was. The real question is, who will Filoni's acolyte be? I mean, hopefully it's a team of people. Like, it's not just one. Maybe it's like a few dozen people. Because when you look at The Mandalorian, especially the first couple seasons, or actually all 3 seasons, they brought in different writers and different directors so that John and Dave could sort of just give all their knowledge to them. They were testing people out, like Bryce Dallas Howard directing episodes, Deborah Chow, who eventually went on to go get her entire series of Kenobi, Taika Waititi, who was supposed to get a Star Wars movie after that but didn't, or at least it's been shelved. But they work out different directors and different writers on those shows, which I think is how it should go. If you want to direct a Star Wars movie or write a Star Wars movie, you should have to do some episodes of a show first to sort of test the person out if they're good or not. It makes sense. You have the ability to do that. You have live action shows that need directors for certain episodes. Why not? Why not do that? Because now you have somebody like John Watts, who's working on Skeleton Crew. If you want John Watts to now go direct a Star Wars movie, he'll have all the experience in the world of already working on a 8-episode series. So going to do a Star Wars movie is going to feel like nothing, really. It's going to feel like a third of the work. Yeah. Darth Raccoon, what's up? The Clone Wars made me love the prequels. Mad Planet, what's up? Yeah, I mean, the Clone Wars they didn't make me love the prequels. I already loved the prequels before I watched the Clone Wars, but the Clone Wars adds so much to the characters of not only Anakin and Obi-Wan, but Ahsoka herself adds so much to Anakin's fall. But it's the characters around it. Plo Koon was nobody. Kit Fisto was nobody. Mace Windu really wasn't, like, he's more of a somebody than those other two, but they get so much more character development in the Clone Wars. Ayla Secura gets more. Barriss Offee, like so many Jedi that are just background characters in the prequel trilogy become actual main characters in the Clone Wars. And it makes it feel more like a lived-in universe, a lived-in Jedi Council. And that's what makes it really cool. Yeah, expanding on all those characters. That's why I hope we get a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. If we get the care and attention to detail when it comes to Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple that was given to the Clone Wars, now you're going to learn all these different characters that Luke trained. Maybe some of them survived when Kylo Ren killed all of them, like the other Jedi survived Order 66. But you also just get new characters, and possibly characters like Asajj Ventress or Ahsoka Tano, like these amazing legacy characters now that never existed before the Clone Wars, which would be awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Noah says, Ahsoka was good, but at times it was painfully slow. So that's the one thing that I hope they fix in the second season. Some scenes dragged on a little too long, like Sabine talking to the wolf. Oh, talking to her wolf. I just disagree because I love Ahsoka so much, and I actually think it's probably one of the fastest paced Star Wars shows we've gotten. But you're talking to her wolf? Oh, you're talking about on Peridia. I was like, what wolf are you talking about? Yeah. Yeah, I could not disagree with you more. I haven't played Star Wars Outlaws yet because I'm out of town, but I can't wait to play it when I get back. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. I can't wait for you to play it. No spoilers here. No spoilers here. By it, I mean the theater experience wasn't worth it. I'd stream it at home all day, every day. Oh, I get you. So you're not saying the movie was bad. You're saying that the theater experience was bad. There are bad theater experiences, whether you just don't like going to the movies or you have annoying people around you. That's what happened with me when I went to see Deadpool and Wolverine the second time. I went and saw it twice. But the second time I went, people were like making so much noise with like their straws, like the clown noise, you know, like the doo-doo-doo-doo, or like just opening bags of candy or whatever it was. They were just making so much noise. It was really annoying. Then there was this one really annoying lady laughing so hard, but at like just not funny scenes. And she was obnoxiously loud when she laughed. It was yeah. Sometimes a theater experience can be bad. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I could see them announcing an animated show after Skeleton Crew finishes if its premiere would be on like May the 4th during Celebration. It would be cool to have an exciting premiere during Star Wars Celebration. Well, Star Wars Celebration is April 18th to 20th, so that wouldn't be May the 4th, but I agree with you. It would be cool to get an announcement for an animated show there. And if the release date was May the 4th, that would be awesome. That's where the Clone Wars Season 7 released, or was it? Yeah, Clone Wars Season 7 released, and the Bad Batch released on May the 4th. So it would make sense for the next show to do that too. It would make sense. I'll never be able to relate with people who think that Sabine's force sensitivity came out of nowhere. There's a lot of hints of it in Rebels. The thing that is holding her back was a mental block because she was a Mandalorian. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Sabine trained for 15 years, and she was only able to use the Force after 15 years of training. There were Jedi who came into the Jedi Temple as 5-year-old younglings who were able to wield the Force. It just doesn't really make much sense to me either. Yes, the big block was her Mandalorian upbringing. The fact that she is a Mandalorian. The Mandalorians were at a civil war against the Jedi for so many centuries that their sort of way, this is the way of the Mandalorian was the exact opposite of the Jedi. So they were really disconnected and unable to connect to the Force. And that's what Sabine had to get past. Took her 15 years, but she finally did it. And then when she did it, people were not a fan. We're not a fan. And maybe it's because they didn't watch Star Wars Rebels. That's completely their fault. But it clearly makes the most sense. Like her wielding the Force in that show is not a surprise in the slightest. It would be more surprising. I'd be less surprised if people were like, why is Ahsoka wielding the Force? Or why is Ezra wielding the Force? Like Sabine Wren makes the most amount of sense for wielding the Force in that show. Yeah. Movies are great and all, but I do love television as well. I keep going back and forth on which one I like more, but 62% of you in the poll right now do say movie over TV show, so. Yeah. Give Bryce Dallas Howard a movie already? I agree with that. That'd be awesome. That would be awesome. Rafi, what's up, says, what are your opinions on Disney releasing 3 films and probably Ahsoka Season 2 in 2 years? Well, I'm guessing there's going to be even more than that, and I'm fully down for it. It's a little weird that they're doing 2 movies in a year, but I think it's more so because of the writers' strikes. Like, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie was supposed to come out next year, in 2025. So then it would be one movie every year. 2025 gets a movie, 2026 gets a movie, 2027 gets a movie. But because of the writers and actors strikes that happened last summer, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie got delayed. and then it had to start filming this summer, and that's why it's coming out in 2026. So it's only because of the delays that there are 2 movies in 2026. That wasn't the way that it was supposed to originally go. So I'm not like opposed to it or anything. I don't think it's too much by any means, because by the time we get the Rey movie in December, there won't be another Star Wars movie for another year until December of 2027. So it won't feel like an insane amount. Yeah. Plus, they're not in the same time period. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie is in the Mandoverse, and the Rey movie is way past the sequels. So the 2 movies aren't really going to connect much. It's like Rogue One and The Force Awakens. Or no, it's more like The Last Jedi and Solo. The Last Jedi and Solo come out 6 months apart. They're 2 completely different movies in completely different time periods on the Star Wars timeline about completely different characters. So the 2 don't really, conflict with each other. Yeah. Dib says, I wish we got a Clone Wars style TV show set between episode 8 and episode 9 to flesh out the characters. I would be down for that, like a sequel animated show. The only problem is, I think the conversation around the sequel trilogy is already such a negative one that if you announced an animated show about the sequel trilogy, many people would not be fans. I think the best bet, like eventually you probably can do that, but I think the best bet right now is to do a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show so you can have some of those sequel characters involved, like a young Ben Solo, all the original trio of Luke, Leia, and Han. You can even bring in Lando, Chewie, R2, C-3PO, all of them. Even have other sequel connections, Snoke, Palpatine, all that stuff. It's not directly only sequel characters. It's still the fan favorite characters of the original trio. And it would just be sort of a great transition to the sequel trilogy. I also think that show could make the sequel trilogy even better by filling in all the holes of how Palpatine came back to power, how Snoke rose to power, how the First Order came to power, how Ben Solo fell, how Luke Skywalker fell. All that stuff would make the sequel trilogy better, and then maybe, just maybe, you could make a sequel trilogy animated show in the time period between episode 8 and episode 9. But isn't that time period really short? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't episode 7 to episode 9 only a year and a half? I believe it is. I don't know how much story there is to flesh out there. Yeah, no? Rafi says, if they made a Clone Wars-like series in the sequel trilogy, that could age just as good as the prequels. Again, I think I understand what you're saying. Like the Clone Wars helped the prequels drastically because it's inside the prequel trilogy. I actually think a series outside of the sequel trilogy would help it more, which is Luke Skywalker's before. Yeah. Yeah. They're a year apart, really? I thought it was like a few months. I guess not. You guys see my new shirt? It's Luke Skywalker, and then it's Luke Skywalker versus Ewoks, and versus Wampa, and then versus himself. I just picked it up the other day. Okay. Melissa, what's up? Says, that's great, Mike. But half the flipping fandom. Okay, sorry. But half the flipping fandom won't agree with how Disney would address the Skywalker School of Jedi. People are not open to any agreement. I've heard that before. That's true. I mean, if you do a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show, it's going to be met with quite the divisive fandom. But so is every project you're going to release for the rest of time. So you can't really let that bind you or stop you from doing anything. The Star Wars fandom is already such a chaotic and hostile place to live. You can either choose to take that negativity and take it to heart and become a negative person, or you can just choose to ignore it and talk with the people who love Star Wars. See what I did there? The people who love Star Wars and just have fun with Star Wars, you know? Yeah, I know. Fearless says, I had a bad experience last time I went to the theaters to watch The Rise of Skywalker. I never want to have that again. Such a disaster. I was so angry that I had tears in my eyes. Wow. Yeah, The Rise of Skywalker was a ride, for sure. That movie's like 3 movies in one. It's almost its own sequel trilogy. It's such a fast-paced movie. Yeah. TV is able to flesh out more characters, in my opinion. if they actually put the quantity and effort into a show, and effort into a show. That's true. There's a lot more time spent with the characters in this world of Star Wars in television. That's absolutely true. Yeah. Jason, what's up? I must already have Steve Owens blocked. His comments don't show up in my chat. Steve Owens? I don't see a Steve Owens in the chat. Is Steve Owens in the chat? I don't know. Cruise Liner, what's up? Says Ahsoka the Patterson cut is great stuff. Best to not do a series, but pack it into a movie length. I disagree. I think yes, movies can be great. Of course, the trilogies we've gotten before, they're great. But you're just able to tell so much more story in a show. I actually think the Ahsoka show shouldn't have been touched at all. Yeah. Thanks. Love the shirt, Mike. Thanks. I just purchased a Merle, aka Sabine's Lothcat shirt the other day. That's awesome. Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit here. Shall we? Let's briefly talk about the Ahsoka Season 2 news that we talked about a little bit on Tuesday. So Ahsoka Season 2 has been sort of... The big question was, when are they going to film the show? Because the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is filming right now. And with that, the Ahsoka show is not. Now, Sabine Wren's actress, Natasha Liu Bordizzo, just confirmed over last weekend at Dragon Con that Ahsoka will start filming next summer. Or it will be filming next summer, as she won't be able to attend Dragon Con, which happens every Labor Day weekend, because she'll be filming Ahsoka. So Ahsoka will be filming next year, meaning it won't be released until early 2026 or mid to late 2026. Now, that means it could come out before the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which is May 2026, or it could come out after. And this clearly means that either the events of Ahsoka are going to affect the Mando movie, or the events of the Mando movie are going to affect Ahsoka. Most likely the latter, because right now Mando's being filmed and created, and Ahsoka will be created after. So it's more likely that the events of this Mando movie will affect Ahsoka, which means Ahsoka will come out after. So it's possible that we won't be seeing Ahsoka Season 2 for another 2 years, which absolutely sucks. That sounds so far away. But the good news is Ahsoka Season 2 will be filming next year, and Dave Filoni has been hard at work for the last year and a half. He'll have pretty much 2 years to write and create Ahsoka Season 2 to the best of its ability. We talked so much on Tuesday's stream about Abeloth and the possibilities of what Season 2 could look like with Bale and Skull being recasted and not, so we're not going to really deal with that today. But Ahsoka Season 2 has the ability to be something huge. I think Ahsoka Season 1 did something very, very well, and that's kick us off into this Heir to the Empire era. It's kicked us off into Thrawn being the new big bad, and it's kicked us off into the movie theaters with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. But Season 2 has the possibility to be something way bigger by introducing bigger threats like Abeloth, and something way bigger to even not just the Mandalorian time period or the New Republic time period, but the entire Star Wars timeline. Because now you'll have references to Abeloth 25,000 years ago with the Mortis Gods and possibly with the Dawn of the Jedi movie. And you could have Abeloth be the main villain of the Rey movie, which we just talked about is going to come out in 2026. Now, none of this is confirmed, Abeloth being involved in any of it, but it is just a theory and speculation for now. But the possibilities are endless when it comes to Ahsoka Season 2, because it could do drastic things to the Star Wars timeline by introducing one character and one character only, and that is Abeloth. But with that being said, sorry, I was just reading something in the chat. With that being said, we have to talk about what comes after Ahsoka Season 2. Because right now, there's only 2 more live-action shows on the release schedule, and that is Andor Season 2 and Ahsoka Season 2. I guess Skeleton Crew too, but Skeleton Crew, I already feel like it's coming, like it's already almost here. So I guess there's 3 more projects on the release schedule for live action shows. Skeleton Crew, Andor Season 2, and Ahsoka Season 2. After that, there's nothing. And think about it this way. If Ahsoka Season 2 leads into the next Mando movie, which is Dave Filoni's Mando movie, and Ahsoka is in that movie, then it's most likely that there isn't going to be an Ahsoka Season 3. So much like Darth Plagueis, who sent in a very generous super chat at the beginning of the stream, was asking about, will there be an Ahsoka Season 3? It fully depends on whether or not Ahsoka comes into the story of The Mandalorian and Grogu. And if it all comes together in Dave Filoni's movie. So let's say Ahsoka Season 2 is the last season of Ahsoka. We know for a fact that Andor Season 2 is the last season of Andor. Skeleton Crew is most likely, right now it's being marketed as a limited series. It's not being marketed as a Season 1. The Skeleton Crew characters will most likely meet up with the rest of the Mando heroes in the Mando movies. But it doesn't seem to have a Season 2. Acolyte has been canceled for a Season 2. So right now, there is nothing, absolutely nothing on the horizon when it comes to Star Wars live action shows after Ahsoka Season 2. So my question to you, chat, is what's next? Are they going to go for a sequel like a Book of Boba Fett Season 2 or a Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2 or maybe even Greenlight and Acolyte Season 2? Or is it going to be something new? And if it is something new, what is it? Is it going to go to the Old Republic? Is it going to go to the High Republic? Are we going to get some young Palpatine? Is Plagueis going to return? Is it going to go past the sequel trilogy? Or is it going to go right back in the middle? Kenobi Season 2? Or even something before that? What will be the next live action show announced after Ahsoka Season 2? Because right now, that's the end of the line. That's the last thing for live action Star Wars content. So what do you want to see? What do you want to see? Maybe the Acolyte will be renewed after the petition. The petition is up to, I believe, 70,000 signatures, which is crazy. But I don't know. The Acolyte, it just doesn't seem like it's going to be greenlit, at least anytime soon. We talked about this last stream of Manny Jacinto saying he's making it his lifelong goal to make Acolyte Season 2 happen. I will say it's not out of the realm of possibility that Season 2 of The Acolyte could happen eventually. But it's very unlikely that it will happen within the next 3 to 5 years. It's not going to happen anytime soon, that's for damn sure. Just because of what we just talked about. The whole first hour of this stream, we just talked about how they're focusing, they're dwindling it down and focusing on quality over quantity and focusing on guaranteed successes. Guaranteed successes that they know will be a success. Like Ahsoka, like Mando, like Andor, things that they know fans will come to, fans will come and galvanize around. That's what they're focusing on. Guaranteed successes. The Acolyte is not that. It's a guaranteed war in the Star Wars fandom if you create a second season. Yeah. That's the issue. Yeah. Stan Robert, what's up, says, sorry, did I miss something? I saw the first season of a series centered around Sabine Wren where Ahsoka played a supporting role. An Ahsoka-centered series I missed. What? Oh, you're saying Ahsoka Season 1 was centered around Sabine Wren? No. The whole gist of it is Ahsoka and Ahsoka the White. Actually, let's talk about this for a second. A year ago today was when Anakin and Ahsoka met for the first time in live action. So a year ago today was episode 4 of Ahsoka, where the episode ends with Ahsoka dying and going into the world between worlds and being saved by Anakin. The hello snip stuff. Let me pull up what I'm talking about here. This scene happened a year ago today, which is absolutely crazy. So, yeah, I mean, it couldn't be more about Ahsoka in this entire show. Literally couldn't be more about Ahsoka. But it's her entire arc, or the end of her arc, her destiny, going to Peridia. But, yeah, this was a year ago today, and that's pretty damn cool because a week from today means a year ago today was the greatest episode, or a year ago, a week from today, jeez, whatever. Is the greatest episode of all time. Oops, there we go. That's better. Thomas says, Mike, you need to start selling merchandise. We tried. Or, no, I shouldn't say that. We haven't tried yet. I am trying over here. I have a website I'm working on right now. I got a few designs in the works. I just haven't published it yet. We'll put it that way. Yeah. Haven't published it yet. Mike might have him blocked. His comments show up on screen, but not in the chat. What? Did we block somebody, Brandon? I don't think I blocked anybody. Okay. Obviously, Subdude says Palpatine should be the main villain for the Rey movie. Oh, okay. Rey Palpatine Skywalker. I wouldn't mind Rey turning into the villain. That's what I wanted to happen in the sequel trilogy the whole time. I feel like Rey going down a dark path would have been a great arc for her character. Yeah. For sure. Please, I want a shirt. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Oh, yeah, by the way, we got an awesome video coming out tomorrow. It's fully edited. It's a unboxing video of this lightsaber. Holy crap, guys. Take a look at this. This is a fully screen-accurate Episode 3 Anakin Skywalker Revenge of the Sith lightsaber from Art Sabers. Oh, you just wait for tomorrow. This unboxing video is absolutely insane. This thing is wild. Look, like, it's so skinny. When you put it, like, I don't know how they got all the technology in here, but it has, like, what seems to be infinite different modes and different characters with all these, like, it's insane. It's insane, okay? You just wait for the video tomorrow, okay? Unboxing video coming out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for this. It's so cool. Shout out to Art Sabers for sending it my way. And, yeah, so watch out for that. And then we'll talk about it more on Saturday stream, but that's just a sneak peek of what's to come tomorrow. It's so heavy, too. Like, it's insane. Doesn't look that heavy, but it's really heavy. Okay. Where was I? Not sure that the Rey movie should come so soon. I mean, I would love to see it, but maybe they should give the sequels a little bit more time before they make a follow-up. Maybe. But how much time is enough time? Daisy Ridley is an actress. She's a human being. So she's only going to get older. I understand that this movie is going to take place 15 years after the sequel trilogy anyway, so you probably could have waited a few more years. But 2026 is already 7 years. 7 years is a pretty long time. I think if you're making a sequel trilogy sequel movie with the Rey movie, there's no real good time to do it because never are fans going to be coming around to it. Fans either liked the sequel trilogy or they didn't. Nothing's going to change with that, whether you make this Rey movie now or you make it in 10 years. I'm excited for the Rey movie. I'm excited for the Rey movie because of the possibilities that it holds. If it does bring in like an Abeloth, or if we get to just see her new Jedi Order, does that involve legacy characters like Ahsoka, Grogu, or even characters crazier like that, like Jason Syndulla or Ezra Bridger, characters that should be alive at the time of her creating her Jedi Temple. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I think I'm invisible. No one can see my comments. I can see your comment. I can see your comment. Noah says the petition signature is just a sample of how many people that actually want a season 2 of The Acolyte. That's a huge sample size. I think I could see them announcing it very soon, but it could go either way. Yeah, I mean, 70,000 signatures is a lot, but it's more so the division in the Star Wars fandom that's just not going to allow this to happen. I think if you're Disney and you're looking out at the scope of the entire Star Wars fandom, yes, there are sections of Star Wars fandoms, some sections that love The Acolyte, some sections that hate it, some sections that think it's just okay. When you're looking at the entire scope of the Star Wars fandom, you just see them all fighting with each other. Whether you like it, whether you don't, you're fighting, you suck, whatever. They don't want more of that. So creating an Acolyte Season 2 guarantees more of that. Maybe if you don't do that, there'll be less of it. Now, that's not going to be the case. Skeleton Crew is going to come out. It's going to be met with the same sort of hostileness of the Star Wars fandom. Fans are still going to be fighting about whether or not Skeleton Crew is good or not. It's never going to end. Same thing's going to happen with Andor Season 2. Same thing's going to happen with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Same thing's going to happen with Ahsoka Season 2. Same thing's going to happen with the Rey movie. It's never going to end. But as a company standpoint, looking out at the Star Wars fandom, The Acolyte is a very difficult thing to greenlight a second season for. Even if, myself included, a lot of fans want it. Because I want it bad. I want more Chimera. I want more Plagueis so bad. But it just doesn't seem like the right move for them. You know? Yeah, I know. Obviously, Subdude says, I won't be signing the Acolyte petition. I don't want to see these characters run through the ringer again. If the characters are in a different series, it has much more of a chance for success. Some fans have been mentioning that too. Do you just greenlight an Acolyte Season 2 and call it something different? Call it the Plagueis show? Call it the Chimera show? Call it something else? I mean, that is a possibility. But I don't know. Here's the thing. The Acolyte characters are not going anywhere. Yesterday, the Kelnaka comic book just started. The first issue of the Kelnaka comic book. It's a prequel to the Acolyte show about Kelnaka. It just started. There are 2 prequel novels for the Acolyte coming out next year. Like, these characters aren't going anywhere. It's more a question of will we be seeing more of them in live action? Because we'll probably see them in animation at some point. We're definitely seeing them in the novels and comics. It's the question of whether we'll see more of them in live action. And I certainly hope we do. Yeah. Can we get some good Cups follow orders in the chat, please? Bumpa. Much better. Amanda says, I wouldn't mind them doing a definitive Stormtrooper plot like they tried with Finn. Oh, defective Stormtrooper plot like they tried with Finn, but focus mainly on that as the center plot line. Yeah, I mean, Finn was the opportunity there. He's a great character that was kind of just underutilized in the sequel trilogy. So the more Finn, the better. I think you can continue his arc in the Rey movie, hopefully bring John Boyega back, redeem his character, make him a Jedi, and have that arc be what defines his role, or defines the role of Finn, I should say, because he is cool. A defective clone is a awesome storyline. Actually, we saw that in... What did we just see that in? Oh, Andor. Andor Season 1 I'm rewatching right now. When they're doing the Aldani escape, one of the people working with them, I completely forget his name. Somebody in the chat help me out. But he is a defective clone. A stormtrooper, sorry. He's a defective stormtrooper who's now fighting against the Empire, obviously. Yeah. Noah says, I do think that they are planning to not go forward with it after the reception they saw, but I think now they might notice that people actually enjoyed the show. Yeah, there's no denying that the people who were yelling the loudest were the people who didn't like the Acolyte show. Yes. But maybe, just maybe, they see all these people who are saying other things, saying things like signing petition to get it back, hashtag renew the Acolyte was trending for weeks. It's not anymore, but it was. Hashtag save the Acolyte was trending at one point. Like, there are a lot of fans who really want more of those stories. So maybe they see that and maybe we get more. But I'd say it's very unlikely. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys, if you are not yet, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. It's completely free. There's like 200 of awesome Star Wars fans in there talking Star Wars all day long. So if you want to join that Discord, go join it. It's in the description below. Completely free Discord. Go join it right now. I always forget to mention that every stream, so it just popped into my head, and I had to mention it. Okay. Japan, which is going to be in April, Star Wars Celebration, that is. What? Oh, I don't know what that means. Okay. Star Wars Santa says, next live-action series set in Peridia. Maybe something far before Ahsoka Season 2. Ooh, I'd like that. That would be interesting because Peridia is almost like a wasteland. It used to be thriving with Night Sisters, possibly something to do with the Zepho too. The Mortis gods were once there because the statues. A Peridia origin story type deal would be pretty damn cool if I do say so myself, especially if it took place like thousands of years before anything. Yeah, that'd be cool. Mad Planet says, I think if Disney announces a new writing team for The Acolyte, then most fans would welcome a season 2. Yes and no. I understand that a lot of the problem behind The Acolyte season 1 was Leslie Headland herself, but there's still so many Star Wars fans that just hear the word Acolyte and get so enraged with rage, enraged with negativity, that it won't change. That's the problem, you know? We do have some, Mr. Beckham, what's up? Hey, Mike, character dying in a t-shirt? Yeah, characters dying on a t-shirt. Let's do that. That's actually a great idea. Okay, let's do this. I do have this article from inverse.com talking about The Acolyte being canceled. So let's read this, shall we? Again, it's like this news just never goes away. It really is like it never goes away. Okay, so first of all, first things first, Alex with his 3-month membership badge. I appreciate that, Alex. I really, really do. Becoming a member is the best way to support the channel. It's only 99 cents to the lowest tier. And there's 2 other tiers. Yeah, so go do that. You get instant access to a giveaway at the end of every month, which isn't for a while now, but still. Okay. And Super Chats, of course. Super Chats help keep the lights on over here, and I'll do any Star Wars impression you hope and dream to see. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Yes, Amanda Steinberg wasn't surprised at the Acolyte, at the Acolyte's cancellation. So let's talk about this. We've read what Amanda said, how she talks about how the Star Wars fandom, blah blah blah, transparent with it. It's not a huge shock for her. That's what she said on her 8.5-minute Instagram story. But let's read this. Blah 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 blah. Here we go. Anyone who spent an extended time in fandom spaces is all too familiar with these echo chambers. In the Star Wars fandom, especially, a vocal minority can feel like an overwhelming ramble. This has been true many times over again. Even though maybe the minority of people didn't like a certain Star Wars project, they're just yelling louder than everybody else because they want to yell. I think this can be said about The Mandalorian in particular and Andor especially, with the whole bricks and screws extravaganza. But that has been going on forever. Partly because these sects have been allowed to move unchecked against divisive stories for almost a decade. The Acolyte faced some backlash that plagued Lucasfilm's first earnest push for diversity. The Force Awakens. The studio was just as silent then as it is now, and there is no sign of a strategy changing anytime soon. So this is they're talking about the silence of Lucasfilm right now. This whole hashtag renew the Acolyte, hashtag the Acolyte sucks movements going on either side, and Lucasfilm hasn't chimed in one way or another. They actually haven't chimed in to say whether or not the Acolyte has been canceled or not. They haven't even mentioned that. The actors themselves, Manny Jacinto, Amanda Steinberg, they have chimed in, but Lucasfilm themselves haven't said a single thing. No one's saying that The Acolyte was a perfect series. I mean, that's not true either. We got to play it both ways. There are some people that do say that The Acolyte is a perfect series. I do not. I think it's a great series. Not perfect, but it is great. Nor should it transcend any constructive criticisms. But Lucasfilm's choice to cancel the series outright rather than stand by its cast and crew, address the show's flaws, and give it the space to succeed speaks more to its own cowardice. Cowardice? Is that a word? Sure. than it does to any sound business sense. Left unchecked, that could actually cause more trouble than The Acolyte ever could have. So they're just more so talking about Lucasfilm not coming in, stepping in, and backing its cast and crew. Because a lot of people went into making this Acolyte show. It's not just the actors of Manny Jacinto, Amandla Steinberg, Daphne Keane, Lee Zhangcha, like all these people who go into creating the show itself, acting in the show. It's not Leslie Headland. It's everybody, the cast and crew. They're not feeling very good right now. Their show has been canceled, and the Star Wars fandom is attacking them every single day. And there's no sight of that stopping. And this has happened over and over and over again. First things first, let's just talk about this. The lightsaber duels in this show were incredible. But, okay, moving on. Lucasfilm has long chased 4-quadrant appeal. So what this pretty much means is trying to appeal to everybody. In Star Wars films, spearheaded by George Lucas, they were designed as family affairs. They were always made for kids and made for more of a family outing type deal. And that instinct only doubled, instinct only doubled once Disney acquired the studio in 2012, because of course Disney's all about family affairs. Somewhere along the way, though, that spiraled into a general fear of taking risks. So we talked about this quite a bit in today's stream, and this is quite on the nose. Taking risks, or risk-taking, and ruffling any feathers. We talked about the great success of The Mandalorian and how big of a risk that was. Bringing Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau together to create the Mandoverse was a massive risk, and it paid off. And now The Mandalorian is their biggest, most streamed show on Disney+, and now it's coming to the movie theaters. After 3 seasons, it's coming to the biggest theater near you in 2026. And that's called taking a risk, or ruffling feathers. Now they're trying to play nice with everybody. Even before Lucasfilm pivoted sharply to streaming after 2 box office failures in Rise of Skywalker and Solo, the studio was incapable of standing behind any of its risky choices. Let's not forget the international campaign for The Force Awakens. When promoting a film in China, the studio downplayed or outright erased the importance of characters of color like John Boyega's Finn or Oscar Isaac's Poe Dameron. This was a huge thing back in 2015, 2016, when they were promoting The Force Awakens, so 2015, I guess. John Boyega was a main character on the main poster for The Force Awakens. When it was promoted in China, that wasn't the case. He was very, very tiny on the poster. They changed the poster entirely, and fans did not like that. That strategy felt especially craven? Sure, whatever. After Sex of the Fandom called to boycott the film for allegedly anti-white propaganda. Yes, really. People actually boycotted The Force Awakens at the time, which is absolutely crazy. Lucasfilm never took a stance against these comments. They remained silent, and now their silence has grown large. And at the time, it truly did seem like a vocal minority spewed unfounded objections, relatively harmless in the grand scheme. But Finn's treatment in subsequent films suggested that the studio had taken the backlash to heart, because Finn became a lesser of a character. In the first film, he's a main character, and he becomes less and less and less as the series goes on, or the sequel trilogy goes on. Though he was in position to be a key player in the sequel trilogy, John Boyega was later sidelined in The Last Jedi and in The Rise of Skywalker. The same went for Kelly Marie Tran's character, Rose, of course, who faced unrelenting backlash after her introduction in The Last Jedi as Rose Tico. Tran had just 1 minute of screen time in The Rise of Skywalker. I did not know that. That's crazy. 1 minute. And her treatment remained as a harsh reminder to Lucasfilm's worst instinct. So here's the issue. We'll get into this in a second. Here's the issue. They remain silent. They remained silent back then, and they remain silent now when this Acolyte issue is going on. So many Star Wars fans out there love the Acolyte show, But those fans don't feel represented. Those fans don't feel like their voices are being heard because the other people are just yelling louder than them. The people who don't like The Acolyte are just yelling louder than everybody else. And Lucasfilm is not chiming in. They're not backing the people who they should be backing. They didn't back John Boyega, and they're now not backing the people who created The Acolyte show. They're not sticking up for anybody. And their silence, which at the time might not have seemed that bad, is now growing more and more and more and becoming worse and worse. And now the silence can't be there anymore because it's just making matters even worse. So that's the issue right now. That's the bigger issue with The Acolyte show being canceled, and now there not being a second season of this show, is the cast and crew has to speak for themselves. Manny Jacinto saying it's his lifelong dream to get The Acolyte Season 2 greenlit. Amanda Steinberg posting a 9-minute Instagram story about just how she knew this show was going to be a failure from the jump. She knew it wasn't going to be a success from it first being announced, and how the Star Wars fandom reacted to it. And now the silence has become unbearing. And now they have to speak up and say something, anything, because there's so many fans out here that love the content that we're getting, but we're not feeling heard at all because everybody else is just stomping us down. Everybody else is yelling louder than us, yelling louder than everybody else about how negative they feel about these projects. Now, the biggest problem when it comes to this conversation is what it means for the future of Star Wars content. Skeleton Crew comes out in 3 months, something like that. Comes out in less than 3 months. Is the same conversation going to be had when it comes to Skeleton Crew? Is it going to be a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes audience score before it gets released? Newsflash, most likely it is. Most likely this show will be shit on for 6 straight weeks because it's got kid actors and they're an easy target. And it's probably not going to be what people want it to be. Let's put it that way. I have high hopes for Skeleton Crew. I think the little we know, the better, because that means they're keeping secrets for a reason. That means there's something to keep a secret. But if it comes in without even being given a chance, like The Acolyte was, without even being given a chance by the Star Wars audience, or at least the greater Star Wars fandom, then that's the problem. That's the big issue. The silence is way too loud now, and it's not helping. So there needs to be something done about this. I don't know what it could be. I don't have the answers. Just a Star Wars fan. But something has to be done about this because it's just going to keep happening over and over and over again. It's going to happen with Skeleton Crew. It's definitely going to happen with Andor Season 2 because it happened with Andor Season 1. And it's only going to get worse from there. Hopefully, when the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out, it'll feel like a united fandom. Hopefully, the movie's good enough that it feels like this is just a win for Star Wars. Maybe it makes $1 billion, $2 billion in the box office. But I don't know. I don't know the solution to this problem. I really don't. I made this video a few weeks ago about it. Still don't know the solution. Many of you gave me some viable options in the comment section, but please, chat, tell me. What do we do? What do we do now? What do we think? What do we think, chat? Copa says, if you are a Star Wars fan, then you already know all about Cobra? What? Or did I just give something away? Never mind, probably shouldn't. What? Hang on. What are you talking about? You must have spelled something wrong here. Or I read it wrong. I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, moving on. Mike, people were drowning the Acolyte before the first episode even dropped. It's too bad because I wanted to see where these characters were going to go. I thought the show was okay. I definitely wanted more of these characters. That's for damn sure. I mean, I've been very vocal about this from the get-go. I always thought that the show was really, really good, and I want to see, especially Kymir, where those characters go. Chimera is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars. Just period, end of sentence. He's become that good of a character to me. Manny Jacinto's performance was incredible, but not only that, he's just that good. He introduces a helmet of cortosis. He's got a new lightsaber. He's just awesome. But he wasn't the only star in the show. He wasn't the only good part of that show. And there was more to be explained in a second season. And I agree with you that, yes, it was never given a chance. I mean, it had a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes before it was even released. Like, what are we talking about here? That's just insanity. But that's not the issue's gone now. The issue's what's coming next. Skeleton Crew is next. The Acolyte's already been canceled. The question becomes, is this going to happen to the Skeleton Crew just like it happened to the Acolyte? Most likely. So what are we going to do about it? I don't know. I don't know what that means, so I'm just going to avoid that. Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Necro says, the article already makes no sense. It was canceled because it made no money. There was no return on investment. Sucks for the workers, but that's just the reality of business. Well, that's not the case at all, because no Star Wars Disney Plus show has made money. So that's not the reality of it at all. Yes, the viewership numbers were low, and the finale was the lowest of all Disney Plus live action shows, but the premiere wasn't. The premiere was one of the highest, right behind Ahsoka, actually. So that's not the case in the slightest. No Disney Plus Star Wars series is making money, because Disney Plus itself is not making money. The reality is the Star Wars fandom in this absolute war that it's been in for the last 20 years, probably more actually, but it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah. People would rather hate to get views. That is also a big problem, because hate does sell. Hate sells so much more than love and positivity. That's for damn sure. People love to hate and people love to argue. And starting a conversation or starting an argument is going to get you more clicks, is going to get you more comments, is going to get you more views. And that's a big part of the issue as well, because hate does sell, and a lot of people make a lot of money off of hating, especially on Star Wars content. That's true. So those people are just going to continue to hate because that makes them money, which becomes an issue because now people look up to those people for their own opinions of Star Wars shows, but of anything. People live their lives looking at people they don't even know, content creators online, myself included, for their own opinions. That's why I emphasize so much on live streams to watch everything and give your own opinion. Don't come to me, especially, don't come to me, but don't come to anybody online to form your own opinion on something, especially a Star Wars show, because that's become the issue. So many Star Wars fans look up to Star Wars creators to form their own opinion. I found myself doing that quite a bit a few years ago, where I'd come to people that I respect or look up to form my own opinion on something. And if they didn't like it or they did like it, I would like it or not like it. You have to form your own opinion when it comes to things. I think we're all sort of guilty of doing that at some point or another. Andy K says, I want more Finn. I definitely want more Finn. Hopefully in the Rey movie we get more Finn. I want to see him be a Jedi. It's the perfect spot to have him be a Jedi. He could be working right alongside of Rey. It would be great even if Rey went to the dark side and Finn becomes the main. Becomes the main hero. Because I always thought Rey going to the dark side would have been just the coolest thing in Rise of Skywalker. She gets revealed to be a Palpatine, she can't handle it, and she turns to the dark side. And then you can maybe have a movie after that brings her back to the light. But Rey dark side was just such an intriguing concept to me. Yeah. Yeah. When it came out, I really assumed that Finn was going to be the second Force character. Rose Tico, too, was so sidelined. Yeah, she was definitely sidelined. But yeah, Finn was set up in The Force Awakens to be a main character. It's almost like, or it's kind of similar to Jar Jar Binks in the prequel trilogy. Jar Jar Binks was going to have a way bigger role in Attack of the Clones and in Revenge of the Sith, but he didn't because George Lucas heard the backlash from that character, heard all the bullying online for Ahmed Best, and he took the character kind of out of the movie. Like, obviously, Jar Jar still plays a role in Attack of the Clones and in Revenge of the Sith. Or, actually, is he even in Revenge of the Sith? Yeah, he is, right? But he's a very, very small role. And that's the same thing that happened with Finn and with Rose. These characters were set up to have way bigger roles, and they had to be cut down because of the fans' reactions to them. Yeah. Aaron says, I can see fans not caring about Skeleton Crew, but the notion that they'll have the same intense hatred for that show as The Acolyte is inconceivable to me. But I guess only time will tell. I would say that hopefully Skeleton Crew is not met with the same divide in the Star Wars fandom as The Acolyte is, but at this point, it's pretty much anything's possible, you know? Because The Acolyte can come into its premiere with a 13% as an audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, because that's even possible, like, the Star Wars fans who did that in the first place understand that they have the power to do stuff like that. They understand that they have the power to cancel shows, create horrible audience reviews and reactions. They now know that they have that power, and that power is very powerful. And with great power comes great responsibility. And we gave all this great power to these people who just can do whatever they want with it. And they can cancel the Skeleton Crew like it's nothing. Like they could easily do it. It's not that difficult. And that's the big issue here. The power is in the wrong hands, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah, no. I think Skeleton Crew will be amazing. Goonies in hyperspace, let's go. Yeah, I mean, I have pretty high hopes for Skeleton Crew. We don't know much about it at all, but I do have high hopes for sure. Yeah. Television show is love. Forever Disney Plus sub who also supports movie theaters. There you go. There you go. I think people need to deal with the reality that no one found The Acolyte interesting enough to watch it, and those that didn't stick around. Disney Plus has 150 million subscribers. Why did nobody watch it? Well, you could also say the same about pretty much everything else. The Acolyte comes in at almost 5 million premiere views in the first 24 hours. I think 20-something million in the first 5 days. I forget. But even still, 20 million of 150 million subscribers is not a very high percentage. So you're absolutely right. What is everybody watching? Well, Disney Plus, first and foremost, its highest viewed show monthly is Bluey. And if you know anything about Bluey, it's a kid's show. And Disney Plus, specifically, is used by a lot of parents just to have their kids watch kid shows. There's a lot of kid shows on Disney Plus. So a lot of those 150 million subscribers are not Star Wars fans. They're just parents who want kid shows for their kids. So that's sort of the case going on there. Where are all those people? Why aren't they watching Star Wars? That's sort of the issue. But going back to The Acolyte specifically, a lot of people were really intrigued. Like millions of people tuned in every week to watch this show. So there's millions of Star Wars fans who really enjoyed this show. You know? Yeah, I know. Streaming isn't profitable yet in general. Well, I wouldn't say that. I believe Netflix makes a profit, but they're the only company. So like Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, HBO Max, Hulu, all those streaming services aren't really making money because they cost so much to make these shows. I believe Netflix does make money though, because they have so many subscribers, and they have more of a backlog, I think, too. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Dead Mike says drama sells on YouTube. Start a beef with Theory and you'll be a major player. Well, why would I want to do that? That's the thing. I understand that if I did just start fighting other Star Wars YouTubers like constantly, then I'd get probably more views and more followers. But what's the point in that? That I'm just gonna be a negative guy? Like I would rather just stay positive, love Star Wars the way I do. Like I'm being me. You know, if I was to come on here and just start hating on everything and just start hating on everyone and being a negative guy, that wouldn't just be me. And then I would just like, what am I going to go to bed feeling satisfied that I got a little bit more views because I was negative and hating people? That sounds like a horrible life. So I'd rather just be positive. And that was the whole gist of creating this channel in the first place. There's so much negativity in the Star Wars fandom that I wanted to create the people who love Star Wars, not the people who hate it. Yeah, no. I understand if I were to create a hateful Star Wars channel, it would probably get more views and more subscribers. But that's not really what I'm here for, you know? Yeah, I know. Avalon, what's up? Amanda says, this doesn't look good for Disney. It doesn't make sense because they're still coming out with garbage. Real life makes... Wait, what? They're still coming out with garbage. Real life makes no one want. What? Real life remakes. Oh, real life remakes. Yes. Again, that is guaranteed successes. Remaking old movies that were animated into live action, like The Little Mermaid, like The Lion King, like what else did they remake into live action? I don't even know. Those two off the top of my head. They're making Snow White. Guaranteed successes. I mean, the live action Lion King movie made over $1 billion. So that they're making the money back on those movies. Quite a bit, actually. So, yeah, I mean, you can't really tell them to stop doing that when they're making billions of dollars off of it. Now, The Little Mermaid didn't make that much money. And I seriously doubt the Snow White movie, with all the conversation around that, is going to make that much money. But they do have proven success with these live action movies. Yeah. You know? Knights of Melvin in the house says, used to respect you, but now you're a joke. I appreciate that, Melvin. I really, really do. It's so funny to me. Because I like Star Wars, I'm a joke. Sad. Okay, where was I? Auntie K says, this is why I'm making a Star Wars deck filled with all the greatest characters. So many I don't have room for Luke, LOL. Star Wars deck? What does that even mean? Like a card deck? I don't know. I bet the Fandom Menace skips the nasty behavior towards the skeleton crew just to toy with others. They mock it outside media content. I don't really know what that means either. Okay. Boyega said he didn't want to come back. Yeah, so John Boyega has said multiple times that he's probably not coming back to Star Wars anytime soon, but honestly, I don't know if I believe that. Here's the thing. The Rey movie is going to need all the help it can get because of the conversation around the sequel trilogy and fans already not liking the character of Rey. It's going to need all the help it can get. And all the help is really John Boyega. If John Boyega backs this movie up, so many fans feel that he got wronged in the sequel trilogy because of what happened to his character, that if he backs this movie up and he's a Jedi in it, a lot of fans will come flocking to this movie because just for him and supporting him, you know? I don't think Skeleton Crew will get the same hate as The Acolyte as long as Disney keeps marketing them as Goonies in space, and everybody loved the Goonies. That is true. I feel like the Goonies is sort of a beloved movie. But it's kind of just because of the current state of the Star Wars fan. Like, you look at every Star Wars project that's come out over the last 15 years, something like that. Probably more. 15, 20, 25 years, it's just been met with a divide in the Star Wars fandom. So Skeleton Crew is not going to be much different. I'm just hoping it's more so on the positive side. Yeah, I know. I want both shows and movies. Me too, Kyle. And that's what we're pretty much getting. I forgot that poll was actually still up there. By the way, 58% of you guys do prefer movies over TV shows when it comes to Star Wars. So that's pretty good because that's where we're going next. You know? That's the wrong cup.
Incorrect.
Yeah. Mike, if like all content, then people would call, I don't even know. This is in English. Okay. Jedi Master Y, what's up, says, keep doing what you're doing, Mike. That's why we rock with you. Well, I appreciate that, Jedi Master. I try to stay positive in this ever negative world we call Star Wars fandom. Indeed. Yeah. It's true. It gets to you very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. I appreciate that, Beckham. I really, really do. Kay says, I think people are getting tired of all these remakes, though. Not enough original content coming out in Hollywood right now. They just try to play it safe. Yes, absolutely. We talked about this earlier, but the Minecraft movie, I mean, you watch the trailer and you're like, what the hell is going on right now? They know that Minecraft is the most sold video game of all time, so they're trying to make money off of that. It doesn't seem like they will, but I'm sure this movie will still make profit and still make some money. And they know, because Jack Black's in it, Jason Momoa's in it, that they're going to probably make some money back on that, and it's a guaranteed success. It is a lot more difficult to take a risk. To take a risk is extremely difficult, but that's what Star Wars was built off of. Star Wars is built off of taking a risk. George Lucas creating A New Hope in 1977 was a massive risk. Then going to create Empire Strikes Back and make Darth Vader the most evil being in the world for 3 straight years, making him the good guy's father, that's a massive risk. And then episode 3, or episode 6, I guess, coming out and having the Ewoks save the galaxy. Risk after risk after risk. And then the prequel trilogy comes around 16 years later and he completely changes the look and style of the entire Star Wars galaxy. It's risk after risk, and it's what The Mandalorian did too. It's risks that need to be taken to create something great. Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Inklet, what's up? Says, super late, but hi. Hope everybody's having a good day. I'm having a great freaking day. Even though this live stream has kind of gone down a more negative path, I'm still having a great day. Yeah. Aaron says, if the script dignifies the character, and the check is hefty enough, I think John will come back. That's true too, yeah. John Boyega is probably open to returning if his character is treated well and, of course, a big old paycheck. Yeah. For sure. Knights of Melvin says, The Acolyte is canceled and you're blaming toxic fans? What a joke. Did I blame toxic fans? I believe I blamed the Star Wars fandom itself. I hate the word toxic. It's the Star Wars fandom being divided. It's not one side or the other. It's both sides at the same time. Yes, the positive people are myself, but I'm to blame as well. This war goes both ways. It goes both ways. This is not a one-way street here. Toxic fans. Hilarious. Amanda says, did they say why Skeleton Crew isn't a kids show? Well, yes and no. I mean, it's not a kids show because it's plain and simple not. I think it's more so along the lines of The Mandalorian. If I had a little kid, I probably wouldn't show them The Mandalorian because people are dying, people are getting blasted, like some pretty dark stuff is happening. I think that's the same thing that's going to be happening in Skeleton Crew. It's going to be more along the lines focusing on these 4 kids, teenage kids, that it'll feel more like a Goonies type of show. But even Goonies or Stranger Things specifically, that's been compared to, I wouldn't be showing kids that. Especially Stranger Things. It's like a horror show. So it is involving kids as the main characters, the main 4 characters being kids, our boy Neil, but it's not a kid show. And by kid show, I mean like 5-year-old kids. I'm not talking teenagers, because all Star Wars is pretty much made for teenagers. I'm talking about like 5-year-old kids, you know? Yeah, no? Star Wars Jedi Podcast, what's up? Inkling, I'm very glad you found this community as well. The Minecraft movie has a lot of pink in it, I guess. Yeah. Knights of Melvin says, a guy who loves Disney Star Wars. I mean, I do like some good Disney Star Wars. But my favorite Star Wars movie is still Revenge of the Sith, and Disney didn't make that. Oh my god, I think the Minecraft movie trailer thumbnail. Wait, I thought the Minecraft movie trailer thumbnail I saw was fan-made. It's real, LOL. I know. It honestly feels like that Minecraft movie is being made in my basement. It feels like I'm making that movie right now, and somehow I hired Jack Black to play Steve in just a blue t-shirt. Like, they didn't shave his beard. They didn't change his hair. They just, Jack Black, he's going to play Steve in a blue shirt. It's hilarious. It made me laugh for quite a bit yesterday when it came out. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago? Dark Sky, what's up, says, I really hope they put less shows and more movies. Personally, even though I do like the shows, it doesn't have the same magic as a theatrical movie for me. Yeah, I mean, going to the movies and having that movie theater experience, it almost can't be replaced. Especially because it's just this massive screen in front of you. You got popcorn, you're sitting in a comfy chair, you're surrounded by Star Wars fans. It's hard to replace that. But I think some Star Wars fans, myself included, do enjoy the amount of story that can be told in TV shows. I think there's a good balance between the both of them. And honestly, I think they're just trying to find that balance. That's sort of the gist of today's stream, or at least the first hour of today's stream. We kind of went off the rails in this back half of the stream. But in the first half of the stream, that's kind of the gist of what I was talking about. They've trying to find the balance between live action shows, live action movies, and animation Star Wars content. And honestly, one a year for all 3 is probably the route to go. You get 1 season of animated Star Wars television, whether that's a Clone Wars or Clone Rebellion show, or a Hidden Path show, or a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. 1 season of that every year. 1 season of a live action show, whether that's Skeleton Crew, whether that's Andor, whether that's Ahsoka, wherever in the Star Wars timeline, and 1 live action movie. None of the 3 have to be connected to each other. They can all take place in different time periods in the Star Wars timeline, but just 1 each a year. That means every 3-4-ish months, you're getting a new piece of Star Wars content, whether it's animated, live action, or a movie. That's just the perfect plan. That's the perfect life for a Star Wars fan, because that doesn't even include Tales of the Jedi stuff, or Tales of the Empire stuff, or Star Wars Vision stuff, or comics, or books, or anything like that. It's just the main movies and shows. That would be the dream. That is the dream. That is the dream. Absolutely. For sure. That's funny, Dead Mike. Alex says, I wonder why Lucasfilm doesn't use books or movies /show, or doesn't use books for movies /shows. I get that they want to introduce new stories, but right now, many of their original stories have not been as good. Making fan favorite books into a movie or a show might be a hit for Lucasfilm. That's the interesting thing. We just talked about for hours guaranteed successes. Guaranteed successes. And they have guaranteed success, especially at Lucasfilm, with the Old Republic, with the Dawn of the Jedi, with even stuff inside the Skywalker saga. The Heir to the Empire, which is a Legends trilogy, but the Heir to the Empire trilogy, that would be so easy to incorporate into canon, changing a few characters here and there, but incorporating it into canon in between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. And honestly, that looks like what they're doing. That looks exactly like what they're going to do with the possible Mandoverse trilogy, introducing Thrawn to the main Star Wars galaxy in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. It could be that this Mandoverse trilogy that we're getting could just be their version, canon version, of Heir to the Empire. altering a few different stories here and there. And yes, you can go look back at the Legends Heir to the Empire trilogy, see the differences. And obviously you don't want to rewrite the same story over again. But there is so much untapped potential with Star Wars already existing content, like the Old Republic, that fans love so much that they can tap into. It's guaranteed success. Guaranteed. So that's a great question, Alex. Why don't they do that? What are they waiting for? What do we think, chat? Should we do it? Should we get the create the Old Republic content going? Hashtag give me Old Republic now. Trending. I just poured so much water on myself. Ah!
I got a bad feeling about this.
Damn it. Damn it. I guess that was just sort of my, what the hell? My introduction to the cup, of course, being dumped on my head at 100,000 subscribers. By the way, we hit 78,000 subscribers. I appreciate it. Oh, Amanda with a very dangerous, a very generous $5 holla, third ever super chat. I appreciate it. Says, quote unquote, you're going down a path I can't follow. Padme? Oh, question mark. LOL. If not, then your choice of character. Thanks. Oh, okay. So I got to do, oh, jeez. I got to do a Padme impression? Okay. Here we go. Padme, you're breaking my heart. Let's hear it. You're breaking my heart. This is going to be great.
I don't want to hear any more about Obi-Wan. The Jedi turned against.
Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow.
Really, Amanda? Really? I appreciate the $5, Amanda. I really do. But come on! Padme? Natalie Portman, I apologize for what you're about to hear. I hope this never reaches you. And I apologize to the rest of chat as well. But Natalie Portman specifically, if you're watching and we know that you are, I apologize. Okay? Okay.
Breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow.
This is so tough. One more time.
You're going down a path I can't follow. Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow.
First of all, Natalie Portman, congratulations. This is an incredible performance, okay? Let's not take away from this, okay? Okay? Let me channel my inner Padme Amidala. Me. Okay, here we go. Should I start crying? Anakin! You're breaking my heart! You're going down a path I can't follow! Why would you make me do a female character? Amanda? God! Damn it! You're breaking my heart! You're going down a path I can't follow. Natalie Portman, I'd like to issue my apology personally to you. That was horrible. Please forgive me. I will never do it again. Oh my God, what happened to this stream? Oh, we're just going to be talking about how great it is to be a Star Wars fan today. We're just going to be talking about how great it is to be a Star Wars fan today. What has this turned into? Okay. Let's regroup here.
This is where the fun begins.
Okay, I appreciate it, Amanda. I really, really do. Of course, super chats keep the lights on over here. You sounded like Miss Piggy. What? What? I sounded like who now? Okay. I apologize for all that nightmares you guys are going to have later on tonight. But, yeah. Okay. let me end this poll. Let me end this poll. It was pretty good. If you close your eyes, you can hear Natalie Portman. Oh, doing Keira Knightley. Well, I'll take what I can take. Okay. By the way, 56% of you guys would rather Star Wars movies than television shows, but that means also that 44% of you guys, the math is not mathing, but 44% of you guys would want it. Interesting. The new Kalnaka comic is up? Yeah, so the new Kalnaka comic started yesterday. The first edition of the new Kalnaka comic is out yesterday. So that means there's still going to be more Acolyte content. You're probably just not going to get it in live action. Yeah. I appreciate it, Amanda. I appreciate the $5 holla too as well. Of course. Okay. Where did I leave off? Oh, yeah, Alex talking about why doesn't Lucasfilm use the books. Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably a great decision to go do Old Republic, take from the source material you already have. It's just a great decision to do. And I think they're doing it with the Heir to the Empire, altering it a little bit to create canon, or to coincide with canon. But we'll see. Nathan says, I do think nostalgia is really what people want. The Skywalker saga and the original trio, Skywalkers in the original trio, and how it made them feel and what they saw the first time with no modern politics. Yeah, so there's a big issue when it comes to Star Wars, and it comes to anything else, really. It's your nostalgia and how you remember watching it for the first time. So many Star Wars fans come into Star Wars at a different time in their lives, usually when they're a kid, but not always. And usually you have a very fond memory of the first thing you ever watched, the first introduction to Star Wars ever. So whether that is the original trilogy, whether that was the prequel trilogy or the Clone Wars or the sequels or The Mandalorian or Ahsoka or The Acolyte, whatever brought you first into Star Wars, usually you're going to have a really, really strong connection to. Usually. So usually those fans have a bias towards that thing that brought them into the greatest franchise of all time, whether that be A New Hope or The Last Jedi, whatever, anything in between. Usually they have a strong opinion one way or another. So it's really hard for older fans who really, really love the original trilogy, but don't, and some of them that don't particularly like the sequels or the prequels even, who don't like the modern stuff. It's hard for those people to also exist in the same fandom as fans who absolutely love the sequel trilogy because it's what they grew up on. It's hard for those two people to have a conversation without that conversation turning into an argument. Now, take those two people that I just mentioned, and times that by 1 billion. Now you have the Star Wars fandom. 1 billion people who all got introduced to Star Wars at different times, different projects, whatever it may be, something that they love so much, and they all have differing opinions on every single different project. So I love Revenge of the Sith. You might hate Revenge of the Sith. But it's always going to be an ever-ending conversation or debate or argument over and over and over again because every single person has their own opinion on everything. So you might agree with everything I say, which is extremely unlikely. Or you might agree with some things I say, or you might agree with nothing that I say. But that's okay. That's what being a Star Wars fan is about. We all have different opinions, different perspectives on different Star Wars projects, and that's perfectly fine. Absolutely perfectly fine. That's the joy of being a Star Wars fan. There is so much content, such a vast universe in the Star Wars galaxy that there's an infinite amount of Star Wars for everybody to love different aspects of it. That's why it's the people who love Star Wars. That's why, because there's so much to love, and it doesn't matter if you like certain projects, dislike certain projects. We have civilized conversations till the end of time. So that's what it's all about. The Star Wars fandom has become so divided because there are so many Star Wars projects and so many Star Wars fans and so many Star Wars projects with fans having differing opinions on those projects ends in arguments and all-out civil war. Yeah. Where was I? Oh, balance is the key word. I don't want shows gone completely. I just want one a year and one movie and an animated show. Yeah, it's balance. That's what we're looking for here, is the balance between live action, animation, and movies, which hopefully they can find the nice little one a year type thing. Yeah. When do you think we'll get announced the next Star Wars animated show? Before Skeleton Crew? I don't know about before Skeleton Crew. It would be nice if it was announced before Skeleton Crew. Lucasfilm, if you're watching, let's please announce the next animated show, please. Now, I don't think it will be announced before Skeleton Crew, but if I were to guess, I'd say Star Wars Celebration. Star Wars Celebration is the most likely place where they would announce the next animated show, but you never know. It could be announced on some random Tuesday or something. You never know. Knights of Melvin says, people are delusional if they don't think that the Rey movie is going to get canceled. Well, then I guess we're all just delusional, Melvin. I seriously doubt that the Rey movie will be canceled. Like, seriously doubt it. They already got a writer. They already got a director. They already got Daisy Ridley signed on. The script is already done. It's probably going to start filming next year. They already got a release date set for it. Yeah. JC, what's up, says, the positive attitude is one of the only reasons I'm a fan of Mike in this channel. I hope it's not the only reason. Thanks to all the good vibes for the people who love Star Wars. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not me. I'd love to take all the credit for that, but it's not me at all. It's all of you guys, and I cannot thank you guys enough for being here for the first place, but it's all of you guys being awesome people and being awesome, positive Star Wars fans. If I created this channel and I only attracted these negative Star Wars fans who fought with each other the entire time during my live streams, just in the chat the entire time, this wouldn't be how this thing works. I'd be fighting with people constantly for 2 straight hours. I'd probably stop live streaming in general. It's all you guys. I have nothing to do with any of this. So thank yourselves. Yeah. Inklet says, I didn't enjoy The Acolyte myself, but I would love for there to be a second season for the people who did like it. Yeah. I mean, is that too much to ask? Could you not put your own opinions aside for other people who enjoy something? Yeah, no? Ian says, have we reached 100K subs already? No, we have not. No, we've not. Do what she says in Watto's voice, Mike. Damn, I should have done that. Damn, should have done that. Yeah, how dare you guys laugh at my impression of Natalie Portman? I thought that was spot on. Spot on. Okay? Okay. Deadpool and Wolverine was member berries beyond belief. By member berries, you mean like Cameo Fest type deal? Yeah, but it was still a great movie. That kind of added to it. Marvel's gotten really good at that. Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Before everything on the internet becomes divided, and certain people feed off of that to make a quick buck. We all like different things, and that's cool. People need to get over their own egos. That's, yeah. True. Just learned to crochet. Nice. And I really want to crochet droids. That would be sick. That'd be sick, Inklet. If you do crochet something cool like that, send it to the Discord. Send a picture of it to the Discord. Star Wars Santa says, the Rey movie is happening. I'd bet on it. I'd bet on that too. Should we start making bets on what does and doesn't happen? I'd be down. I appreciate it, Inkling. I appreciate it. Is it a lot to ask when it's somebody else's money on the line? What? Is what too much to ask? Disney Shill is the dumbest title that Star Wars fans came up with, LOL. I kind of like it. Whenever people call me Disney Shill, I'm like, Disney, where are we at? They're calling me it. Let's just pay me already. Like, but might as well be called one. Might as well get the paycheck, you know? Yeah, no? But yeah, I knew Ian was joking. It's hard to sarcasm is hard to come across in a chat. That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure. Okay, we talked about that. Holy crap, we've almost gone for 2.5 hours. Oh, I got to get on out of here. Okay, I appreciate you guys. I do have to get on out of here. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. My God, that was crazy. Okay, I looked at the clock. It said 1 hour and 15 minutes, and then I looked back and it said 2.5 hours. I don't know how it happened, but it did. So I got to get on out of here. You guys are the absolute best. Join the Discord if you have not already. Hit that subscribe. Huge shout out to Darth Plagueis Lives, I believe his name was, or her name was, and Amanda for the very generous super chats. I appreciate it. Shout out to Alex for his 3-month membership badge. I appreciate that as well. I appreciate all of you more than you could ever know. How did time fly like that? What the hell? That was crazy. Okay. I appreciate you guys. Watch out for a video tomorrow. This unboxing of this awesome saber from Art Sabers. This thing is swaggy beyond belief. It is so damn cool. So go watch out for that. I'm just going to go, just play with this for the next 10 hours. And yeah, watch out for a short later on tonight and a video tomorrow and then a live stream on Saturday, as always. May the Force be with you. Always. Yeah. Always. Ian, that is hilarious. Okay, and with that, first things first, obviously, Subdude, happy birthday. If it truly is your birthday, I don't know if you're lying or not, but I appreciate it. Happy birthday to you. Pam Hill, happy birthday tomorrow. We won't be live, so I'm going to say it today. Happy birthday to both of you guys. I hope you have a great birthday. And if it is your birthday, please tell me in the chat anytime we have a live stream so we can get you those birthday wishes, of course. And yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody. Oh my God, that must have been a record. Somebody timed that. Whew, oh my God, I almost just passed out. Okay, good night, everybody.